Good morning and happy new year, YouTube. Silver Surfer coming back with you for another video. And I just want to talk to you guys quickly about my 2020 goals and collecting. As many of you know, if you've seen my previous videos, that I am full-fledged into the paper currency realm. Super love it. It's a cool thing to kind of research, and there's always something new to learn. And it's the same thing with coins too, but this is just, everything's new to me here, so it's really fun to learn about it. But anyways, and many of you probably have been watching my videos, notice that I'm done with my Washington portrait set, and so I'm now moving on to something new, and I thought, hey, why not put together a beautiful 1914 series Federal Reserve note collection, specifically denomination type set, so the 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do first. After that, it's kind of a toss-up. Not sure if I'm going to work on my 1896, finishing the $2 and $5 silver certificate series, or jump into the small size notes and pick some things up. As many of you guys I've been talking to with know, that I search through serial numbers, looking for fancy serial numbers and things like that. And so potentially might pick up, like a solid or a couple super repeaters, things that are very uncommon to find in circulation while fancy serial number hunting. Look at this one. Check this one out. Look at, who's born in October 23rd, 1965. Any takers out there? Pretty cool, huh? A little birthday note. But so yeah, so I don't know, I might tally into some, or tack into something like that. Or I might even jump into something along the lines of getting some air notes, I got a couple of those already in the collection and want to add some more. So who knows? I don't know. But I know that first thing I'm going to be doing is finishing this 1914 series. Oh, and let's not forget, I want to finish my proof set, my type proof set. So big things is finishing my type proof set in this series here. And so, all right, let's talk about this note, guys. Maybe if I can get it up here. So this is a 1914 series, as you can see, Federal Reserve note. And there it is, says it right there. It's a $5 Federal Reserve note with President Lincoln on it. And it is the precursor to the notes that we currently have today. So as I pointed up here, let's show you, see the top up there, it says Federal Reserve note. Same thing right here, Federal Reserve note. And so this was made after the Central Banking Act of December 23rd, 1913 was authorized, and allowed the government to control this, or create and control a central bank, if you would, and be responsible for the indebtedness on the notes here. And so this is a District Cleveland, and that's designated by the seal. You can see 4D, and it's also stamped right there as well. And on this side over here, modern day notes, let's pull this guy down here for a minute. Modern day notes have the seal over on the left here, and the $1 is different from the 5, 10, 20, and 100 and 50, as you guys know. But anyways, you get the gist. You can see the stamping 3 and 3 to designate the letter alphabet C, and then 3 and 3, and it goes all the way up to L, and 12 for the San Francisco one. But look at the size difference here, guys. Pretty cool, huh? These large size notes are just so rad, if you ask me. But anyway, so this, again, like I mentioned, is a precursor to the money that we have in our pockets nowadays. And how do we get to this point? Well, 1791, you had Alexander Hamilton. Many of you guys have probably heard of that dude. Chartered and established the first Bank of the United States. That lasted, I believe, until 1811, I want to say. And then in 1836, don't quote me on those two dates, but I believe in the early 1830s, the second bank of the United States was chartered, and that lasted until Old Hickory, or Andrew Jackson, was elected into office. And as many of you guys know, had polar opposite views of Alexander Hamilton's banking and financial system, and so he wanted to kind of de-establish that, and as well as balance the budget and everything else. And so it was never reaffirmed after that. So what happened between his time and all the way up until 1913 is that we had a lot of different commercial banking, or commercial banks that were issuing their own money, as well as private banks that received charter numbers from the federal government to be able to issue currency. And they did so, and a lot of those went out of business, and lasted for a very short time, as evidenced by the different obsolete notes and things of that nature. And then eventually the government said, hey, we need to establish some type of central banking system. And so that's what this is here, and what we currently have today. So a lot of people can confuse these sometimes with a Federal Reserve bank note, which I have one as well. And I showed you guys a $1 note that I had, or that I have in my collection. And it is similar but different. This is the basically one of the big differences is that it has the responsibility is through the central bank of the government, federal government, as opposed to the specific Federal Reserve Bank. So this is a Federal Reserve Bank note. Cleveland, Ohio Federal Reserve Bank would be responsible for the indebtedness as opposed to the federal government instead. Kind of confusing, but anyhow. So, like I said, let's talk about this note a little bit more. Here's your serial number, D69995742A. The D signifies also the D for the seal and being Federal Reserve Bank, Cleveland. And then the A, the suffix there, changes after they print the 99 million, basically, if you would, 99999. Serial numbers, and then they have to rotate that to be able to print more money. That's different, and so that would change the B, C, and go through the whole entire alphabet until they came up with the new series year, and that's kind of how that works. So very, very simplistic design on the front. You know, PMG graded this as a VF35 EPQ, which you'll see the comments on the back, and you can see it up here in the right corner, but that essentially stands for exceptional paper quality, which comparison, to give you an analogy for coins, it is a grade in which there's been no alteration whatsoever with the paper quality here. So, you know, it hasn't been flattened, washed, ironed, clean, nothing like that. And again, comparative to the coins, it would be as if, you know, the PCS graded a coin. You know, PCS, for instance, will grade a coin that's been dipped, and it'll give you a straight grade. You know, it won't give you a details grade if it's done properly, but that would not qualify for an EPQ grade per se. So this has been unaltered at all. And then if you guys can see, it's got some folds, one, and then down in the center you'll see it a lot more on the back, and then down on the left over there as well, and then across the middle, the horizontal fold, which is very common for large size currency. The reason was just you had to fit in your pocket. And so that's why those things are like that. But this is just, you know, this is a common note, and so not all that expensive. So if you're going to get one of these things, my recommendation would be to get one that is decently graded, you know, a VF, I would say a high VF like this is, even XF if you want to drop a little bit more cash on it, but a high VF to XF, because once you get up into the AU and especially the uncirculated versions of the 5, 10, and 20, there's not all that many of them because, you know, this was used during those times, and so they actually get kind of expensive. This thing can be had for about 150 bucks though, so not bad at all. It's got beautiful color left, just an awesome note. Another interesting fact about this is that they also made red sealed 1914s for all the different denominations, 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100. These red seals were actually printed first and more expensive because there are a lot less of them, and they're a lot more rare as well. I don't believe there's any star notes that are red sealed, but there are star notes blue seals, which make these significantly more expensive and collectible as well. But anyhow, like I said, my goal is to put together a beautiful type collection of these, the denomination set. And I really enjoyed this series, mainly because it's, like I said, so much good history on it, precursor to our money that we currently have in our pockets today. I can literally go take this and spend it the same amount of $5 bill as I would, you know, your colorized version of the $5 bill today. But the really cool thing about these is the backs. The backs on all of these are all different. Each and every one of them has a different design. And so check that out for a second here, guys. Check that out. Give you a little close-up. Beautiful, beautiful piece. I like the space in between. The left here vignette, as you can see, this is a common vignette that's been used a number of different times, actually back to the 1800s, as evidenced by some of the legal tender notes and stuff, which I actually showed you guys in my first video with the rainbow note. Has the same vignette here of Christopher Columbus setting sail for Americas. And then on the right over here, you have the Pilgrims landing in on Plymouth Rock, which I really love that one. That one is just so stinking cool, man. Really, really cool, guys. And then here's your indebtedness obligation, if you would. And as you can see in the bottom there, it says District of Columbia in gold or lawful money at any Federal Reserve Bank. So again, if this is a Federal Reserve Bank note, it would only be basically to that actual Federal Reserve Bank. But this was by the federal government. So pretty cool, man. I love these things. Like I said, each and every one of them has a different type of, reverse. And that's what makes it very, very interesting to me. But There's the EPQ, or exceptional paper quality, that I was mentioning, labeled there. And yeah, it's got a fold down the middle here, but for a VF35, this thing is just spectacular. I mean, the color is fantastic. No flaws whatsoever via like staining or anything like that. Obviously no tears, problem-free, completely problem-free note. Just a beautiful, beautiful piece. Absolutely love this thing. Like I said, it didn't cost me all that much, so that is that. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention is that a lot of people sometimes get confused on the, you know, they say, oh, well, that's not a full typeset if you just did the 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100, which is a $100 bill. So a little side note here is going to be the next note that I get next month. If I get a little few eBay bucks back here, I'm going to be taking a look and see if I can find one of those to secure. But anyhow, a lot of people think that the just going up to the 100 is not completing the typeset. They say, what about the 500, the 1,000, and the 5,000, 10,000, which is true. There are those out there. However, those are 1918 year series. So they're actually a different, totally different series and well out of my budget. I mean, the $500 FRN Note 1918 series, that goes for probably about $6,000 to $10,000 for a circulated version of it. So unless I hit the lottery in the future, Silver Surfer will probably not be securing that in this collection, but the 1914, a complete type note set, I think will be fantastic to look at. I'm hoping to get the 10, 20, and 35 as well, EPQ, and then probably about a VF20, problem-free VF20 for the 50 and the 100 to save a little money. So that is that. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have New Year's, I hope you guys have a New Year collecting goal plan. And go ahead and post what you guys are planning on doing for next year, and let me know what you think about this video. Go ahead and throw me a comment down there if you guys liked it and what you liked about the video. Until next time, talk to you later. Silver Surfer out.